Before we jump into physically sculpting our hammerhead shark, I want to show you some viewport properties, that will really enhance your understanding of what it is that you're sculpting. And I want you to change this. I want you to experiment, because how you see your sculpture is very important. And there's some changes that we can make to how Blender is communicating this information that are really easy things to do. So let's go ahead and do it real fast. So you can find these options way up here in the upper right hand corner of our viewport properties. Of course, this first one is going to change our mesh into a wireframe. And let me just remesh this real fast. There we go. And the second one is going to show us some basic material properties. And with all of them, if you hit this little drop down arrow, you can start changing your viewport shading options right here. Now, I like going in, especially when I'm sculpting, and using these matte cap, these material captures, because they're going to allow us to change how the computer is drawing our polygons to just give us a little bit more of a different experience. Sometimes just changing how it looks changes our understanding of what it is that we've sculpted. Now we can see that my little green shark here is looking very different than it did before when it was just kind of that solid flat gray. I'm going to click on this little icon once again. There's some winners and some losers in here. Some of these are not meant for what we're trying to do, but there's some good ones. I think for the most part, the ones that I hang out with the most are this red. I find that it's really easy for my brain to understand and consume all of this information when it's in this red. I often change these matte caps just to help me understand what it is that I've sculpted. This brown is another really good one that just kind of allows me to get some separation between the lights, the surfaces, the background, and my brain is able to consume the sculpture a little bit more directly. Now, a lot of folks, they like using this gray, which is just fine. The gray is just fine. And any of these are just fine. As long as it's clear in your understanding of what it is that you're sculpting, you can use all of them. If you wanted to sculpt in this environment, I say go crazy. Have fun if this works for you. But point being is that you can change it. The only thing that I would really recommend that you stray away from is this flat lighting. You can see in the sculpting workflow, this doesn't really do anything for us. You can also try the Studio, which is just some slightly different material presets, or lighting presets, but for the most part, I'm going to be using these matte caps because I find them to be incredibly successful. Yeah, that's kind of nice. They're just pretty neat. I like them a lot. I'm going to leave this to red for the time being because this one really works for me. I like that we get a good little separation between the background with the red. When everything's gray, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult for you to really understand what it is that you're sculpting. And I'm pretty happy with this red. Now, another thing that I would encourage you to experiment with is these cavities. These cavities, it's off for a reason, but when we start sculpting some additional finer details like wrinkles and pores and small things, this cavity map can be helpful because it's going to accentuate those deep kind of areas in the mesh itself. Let me see if I can make a quick example of this. Just going to draw in some lines here. Yeah. Now, there's not a lot of polygons on the mesh itself, and you can see that with that cavity map in there, it's really kind of punching out some of those polygonal faceted edges. This is not a really great example that showcases why you want to use it, but point being is that you can turn it on. It's going to change how your mesh is going to be displayed. Another thing that you might want to just kind of play around with is this shadow. It's going to self-shadow a little bit, which will give us some nice little dark spots in the cavities of our areas. It's just another nice little addition to the viewport rendering engine inside of Blender. I'm going to turn this off just for the time being. I like my little red fish, my little red shark at the moment, and I'm ready to start sculpting now that I understand how I can change the viewport properties to enhance the sculpting workflow.